What's happening, everybody? So I want to take a minute to just talk to y'all a little bit about me hauling refrigerated freight. Y'all may also hear it called reefer, which is going to be that front unit right there. Sorry, right there. It's that front unit right there on the front of the trailer. Hauling refrigerated freight, in my opinion, opens up a lot of possibilities. There's a lot of people out here that's been driving a lot longer than me that's experienced a lot more of the BS that comes with hauling. Because when you haul a lot of reefer loads or refrigerated freight, you do a lot of grocery warehouses and things like that, and you tend to have a lot of wait time. So a few points I want to make during the video is, if you're going to haul refrigerated freight, some things you need to talk about to the company you're hauling it for before you sign that dotted line. And if you know that you're going to be hauling something that may or may not require a lot of sitting time, waiting your turn, you're going to want to talk about detention pay. Detention pay never will equal your mileage rate. Well, I don't want to say never, because there's somebody out there, I'm sure, right now watching this that might get paid whatever their mileage rate is, quantified somehow in the hourly rate, and that's how they get it. But most of your mainstream companies, you're not going to end up with that money. You're losing money when you're sitting, no matter what, even if you're getting paid an hourly wage. But hauling a refrigerated load, of course, requiring you to have a reefer unit on your trailer, opens you up for a lot more possibilities. What I've found. So I came from a company that only hauled dry van, and they're an older company. They got a lot of customers that they work with on a regular basis. But there was also quite a bit of sitting, waiting on a load, waiting on my next load to be given, not waiting for it to be unloaded or loaded, but waiting just to get a load dispatched to me. And I think part of that was because of, there's other reasons, but part of it was because of the dry van exclusion. So when you come out here and you get a trailer that has one of these refrigerated units on it, and the company I work for now only does refrigerated freight. Well, they only have refrigerated trailers, for the exception of, like, I'd say maybe 5 or 6 dry vans for whatever reason they might need them for. You're open up to more possibilities for your backhaul, for not just your backhaul, but for a primary load. So instead of having to pick up something that is only fitting for a dry van, they can find you a load on a broker board somewhere that requires some sort of temperature. Be it I've hauled frozen pizzas. I had to have the box set to minus 10 degrees. I've had to haul bananas that require 58 degrees. The company I work for now, we haul quite a bit of hazmat. Some of it requires you to haul, it's called, essentially you got to keep it from freezing. So there's actually settings on the reefer unit for some of those companies specifically that handles the air exchange differently. So like you might have during the winter months, something I might have to have it set for 65, 70 degrees. A lot of people think about refrigerated freight as being a necessary means for something cold, but that's not always the case. Sometimes in the winter, you got to keep it warm because it can't freeze. Otherwise, the properties break down incorrectly, or it's not the product that it's supposed to be by the time it gets to the customer. And that hazmat freight is an example that we haul of that. So when I haul a refrigerated load, I know that I'm not limited when I'm done with that load to just a refrigerated load. Of course, a refrigerated trailer can also haul dry freight, so you don't have to have that. I would say consider that if you're thinking about going into refrigerated hauling, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. There are some bad places I go. There's a place I go, I get there, I roll through the gate at 7 o'clock in the morning. I usually don't leave until 2 p.m. in the afternoon. A lot of people, that's a problem. I'm on a dedicated run, so it doesn't affect me nearly as bad, because when I leave there, I go to pretty much the same place every time, no matter what time I get there. But that's probably, that's the exception to the rule. But even before I was on this dedicated run, I at least knew that I had more options for not sitting around. And that's one reason why where I work now, I think that there is no sitting around. If you have the legal hours to do the driving, they have the freight to move you. And I think that's a big reason why, is because of that, most of their trailers being refrigerated. Now, when you haul a refrigerated, now for those of you guys who already know this, this isn't going to mean anything to you. If you already haul reefer, then it doesn't mean anything to you. But for maybe somebody considering it, or only having ever seen them go by down the road, well, this is for you. So I haven't turned it on before this video because it is loud, but there are all kinds of different ones. You got Thermo King, you got Carrier, a bunch of different ones. We have all Carrier units, and our unit specifically, and I don't know what everybody has, but our unit specifically if you look right here, there's a kill switch. Okay, that kill switch is for when they're doing repairs on this unit. If that switch is off, that kills the entire system from it being activated remotely, because our office can turn a reefer on and off remotely. So if it needs to be set to a certain temperature, or if there's something going wrong with it, if it maybe shuts off or whatever the case may be, remotely it can be shut on or off. Well, that kill switch that I just pointed out to you keeps it from where, if it's under maintenance, somebody can't accidentally fire this one up, so that nobody messes with it while it's being broken down or taken apart or whatever. So if you look right here, this is how we power it on. See, that cord runs all up in there. So I just push that button, and that light turns red, and that screen comes on. There's sun directly on it right now, but it does like a pre-trip of its own. It does a pre-trip. You don't do a pre-trip on it, but it does a system check, and then it'll fire up. All right, so like right now, if you see, that says Dole Summer. Maybe you can't see it, but it says Dole Summer, and that says 34 degrees. Well, Dole Summer means that's Dole, that's the customer Dole. And we run that Dole Summer in the summer, because what I was mentioning earlier, what it'll do is it'll cause the air it'll exchange the air differently within the unit. Then you saw it was 34 degrees. Well, it handles the air differently than just setting it to 34 degrees. So what I can do is I can actually change to different ones. Dole Winter, IntelliSet Off. IntelliSet Off means there's no intelligent setting. I'm gonna get away because it's about to fire up. There it goes. All right. So now, turn it. You might not be able to see it. But where I just pointed, there was a green light blinking. So if you didn't see it, take my word for it. And when you're riding down the road, that green light will, on ours, it'll be either green or amber. So you'll have either a green or like an orange yellow light. Green means it's good. Green means the unit is running properly. It's doing everything that it ought to. Your orange means there's something wrong. Something's wrong with the unit, or you've let yourself run out of fuel, which I'm going to show you that in a second. But back to what I was saying, there's an intelligent setting. It's called IntelliSet on these. I don't know what it's called everywhere else on the Thermo Kings or whatever. But you can set an intelligent setting so that way you don't have to go through and mess with the configuration. If I'm going to dull, I set it for dull summer while we're in the summer months. Dull winter for winter. But it's a really simple. So it's not a lot of extra, not as much extra work as people make it out to be. And that's my 6 months experience talking. So I'm sure something will come up at some point and I say, man, Higgins, you're full of shit. But right here we have the fuel. That's the fuel gauge. And then this is the fuel where you put the fuel in. And what you'll do there, when you pull up to the fuel island, any of you dry-van guys, you might have saw a truck that was pulled like across the walkway. You're like, what's this asshole doing? Well, his tractor's pulled up across the walkway. He does that so that he can line up the fuel nozzle with his fuel tank. And so he's not trying to be an asshole. He might be an asshole, but that particular thing, he's not trying to be an asshole. That's how you got to do it. All right, so I'm going to wrap this video up now. I got interrupted in the yard the other day when I was recording this. And then it started raining on me and just everything went the wrong way. So I wanted to finish this up and just say, if you got any questions about hauling refrigerated freight, if you don't already do it, or if you do it, comment below and talk about your experience with it, good, bad, or indifferent. Don't make any difference to me. And we'll see what's going on in the trucking world on the reefer side of things. So until next time, drive on, driver. Y'all stay safe out there.